Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here as I take you along with me while I cook up some beautiful and simple family feasts that not only nourish the body but also feed the soul. This channel is all about having an intentional, mindful way of eating, one that revolves around the rhythm of the seasons. These meals are all about simplicity, love, and joy of sharing them, and I promise you by the end of this video, your heart will be as full as your belly. So let's put on our apron and step into the kitchen. I'm SB and this is SB Living. This first meal is pretty typical during the winter season. It's your basic roast chicken seasoned up really well and a side of garlic infused broccoli. It's one of those meals that take up almost no time to prepare and it makes everybody happy. These are chicken quarters, which I find are the most affordable at the market and really hold up well. Chicken is chicken, so it's all about how you season it. That makes a difference each time. I love paprika, not only because it gives a smoky flavor, but a beautiful color. Adding a tab of butter right underneath the skin makes sure everything is succulent and juicy and even a little bit crispy. Broccoli doesn't show up on our table often, but when it does, we love it as simple as possible. And that's sort of like a mantra in my kitchen, not complicating the food, letting that natural flavor shine, and really celebrating what makes each thing special. Usually that means olive oil, garlic, salt, and pepper, and that combination gets most vegetables right every time. Many recipes that I cook are seasonal recipes, but not only that, they carry another layer of meaning too. I love living a slow lifestyle when I'm home, considering that my work is pretty demanding and things happen so fast and unexpectedly. And if you work in a school, you know. So when I'm home, I like to unplug and settle down in the kitchen. I might as well, right? Because I have to feed a family every day anyway. So just like many of you, cooking up these meals is also a way I reflect on the day, the season, the time of year, and connect with the spirit just a little bit more. I've linked 2 little books I made on the subject down below in the description. One is called Sacred Rhythms, which is free for everyone, and it summarizes the core of the content I've been making this past year. And the other is my guide to winter living, which has a lot of inspiration for anyone looking to live a more intentional and seasonal lifestyle at home. So if either of those things pique your interest, I'd love for you to check them out. In the winter, there's always a table full of stuff. I've let go of the idea of clear spaces a while ago, so if your kitchen table looks anything like mine, kudos to you. That means you have a home that is lived in and loved. Winter pastas don't have to be covered in thick sauces, though they are absolutely delicious. We do a lot of pasta dishes that are tossed with vegetables instead, and that means roasted vegetables in the winter. It's a great way to use up whatever you have on hand, and again, the simpler, the better. For this pasta dish, I'm using tomatoes, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, onions, and an acorn squash, however much I can stuff onto a baking tray. And once all these bits come together, it makes a beautiful and colorful rainbow. It turns out I'm going to need 2 baking trays for the amount of vegetables I need, so the potatoes are going in separately. Then it's just olive oil, salt, pepper, and a bit of thyme, and these go in together, and then it's just a matter of boiling the pasta. While I'm putting this pasta dish together, I'd love to share a few things that I'm excited for. As you may have noticed, my Christmas tree and decorations are still up, and that's for good reason because Christmas is actually little season itself. Rather than just one day, Christmas is called an octave or a set of 8 days and ends on the Epiphany. Interestingly enough, the Epiphany was just as important as Christmas growing up, and I even hear that there are traditions in which gifts are given on each of the 8 days. I haven't tried that yet. Have you? I don't know, but maybe one day for me. But once the Epiphany passes, the next season is Lent, which doesn't start until February, and I see it as a very happy time instead of the serious, sad version many of us grew up with. So be sure to subscribe and follow along so you don't miss out on those videos. Just seeing this meal come together reminds me that the simplest of meals make for the best feasts. This is the sort of meal that makes gathering around the table totally worth it. It's not a heavy meal, but one that will surely make your belly and spirit full. One of the first videos I ever uploaded was how I made one huge pot of veal roast into 2 meals. To this day, it's still getting a lot of views, especially during the winter season. I mean, who doesn't love a tender roast that basically cooks itself? And I prepare it the same way. I score the top of the veal just to make sure all the flavor gets in, and then dress it up in lots of olive oil, salt, pepper, and thyme that is dried from the garden. I layer some onion and garlic on the bottom of the pot, and these will become so sweet and caramelized as the veal roasts on top. And then it's just low and slow in the oven for an hour or two until it's golden and crispy. The winter is the perfect time to enjoy chestnuts, also called castagne in Italian, and it's one of those traditions that is more like a ritual. I remember sitting next to my grandfather every winter making quite a mess, trying to see who can be successful in peeling a whole chestnut without breaking it. And after all these years, it's still a challenge, but I do a few things to help make that happen. I score them first with a sharp knife, making little slits on each chestnut. Then I soak them in water for an hour or so before they go into the oven. What this does is it ensures the chestnuts are moist and won't burn as they cook in the oven. But before they get into the oven, the veal has to be checked. I'm adding a bit of Marsala wine and red wine vinegar right before it's done, just to warm through and really sweeten up the onions and the garlic. And then that's it. That's the finishing touch, and this veal is done. The chestnuts can now go in on high for about 20 minutes, and once the slits curl up, it's time to take them out and wrap them up in a big mappina or dishcloth. They will continue steaming this way until you're ready to enjoy them, which I love to do by the fire because, of course. Click the next video on the screen or the playlist underneath it for more content like this one, and even better, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. See you next time.